Hey guys, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell to be updated every time I make a new video. Thanks, let's begin. It's the punk rock Friday the 13th. Unmasked Part 25, aka The Hand of Death. This is the 1988 or 1989 horror film that is more so a comedy. So comedy horror, if you will. It's part slasher, part self-aware parody of the subgenre. It was released in the UK, the country it was made in 1988, and released in the US on home video in 1989. The plot: notorious slasher villain Jackson is making his usual rounds in the streets of London. However, during one of those murder sprees, he catches the attention of a blind woman. She hears him. She's waiting for her date. Her blind date. You can't make this shit up. After mistaking Jackson for that guy, they hit it off, and romance, drama, and a hefty dose of dark humor ensue. While it may sound like this film's body count and slasher's style ends when the romance begins, that couldn't be further from the truth. Sure, the deaths are spread out more, but it still works telling a goofy, if not somewhat compelling story. The meta nature of the film commentates on the slasher subgenre, the punk rock scene of the 1980s, 80s culture, and the insecurity within the horror family. It's a family, not a community. Get it right.
My dear God in heaven, this is a tale.
It's a story for the misfits of the subgenre world. Slasher. Jackson, played by Gregory Cox from Carnivore Werewolf of London, I guess he never left the territory, is our main lead. He's a slasher villain with a light emphasis on the latter. He's just misunderstood and brought up the wrong way. He's actually quite the delightful fella. He enjoys fine literature like Shakespeare and Hamlet and quotes them endlessly. To his love interest, Shelley, played by Fiona Evans. Michelle is a blind woman with an edginess. She has an admiration for the weird. This couldn't be a more perfect match. Her hobbies include foreplay and a whip.
Would you like to be Mama's slave? Well?
Jackson doesn't really seem into it, but he does give it a shot, and it's cringy but funny. Jackson's father, named Father in the credits, played by Edward Brayshaw, who actually passed away in 1990 shortly after this film's release, is the sole living guardian of Jackson. He's a manipulative drunkard who has a big ego.
I won't bear an ounce of guilt for you. My mistakes are all behind me now, and that's where they'll stay, you old fool.
He thinks his son's an idiot. With nothing up in the old noggin, he criticizes Jackson's mangled appearance to no end. He sort of symbolizes the inattentive parent of the era and time that this film came out in. One who is more worried about self-satisfaction and censorship than the actual well-being of their own children. It may be hidden there behind beer goggles, but it's there, and the clarity shines through when you see it. The film also loves to poke fun at slasher films, and by 1988 there were a flood of them, and franchise potential was always a given. Not always given, but it was possible. Whether it be sales or sequels, the films were doing well. But by the late 80s, people were beginning to wonder why and why even, as producers and directors tried to push out more slashers with the same damn premise. That tired formula that we all know and love. The last shot of the film is poetic, and it doesn't spoil anything, actually. It's not just a scream about the unforgivable acts he has committed, but it's also one of failure. And how did he even do it without the cameraman being around? And if they were, wouldn't he know there's another one coming out? No matter how hard people tried, the slasher subgenre never ever really died. The gore, the effects, fun fact, the kills in this movie are much more graphic than what were called for in the script. We get a brutal crushed head, bloody stabbings, a nifty impaling, a meat cleaver to the face, a torch lamp through the mouth, and out the back, a face peeled off, a slashed throat, and more, and I love it. It's a delightfully grotesque feast for the eyes. The film does quit cutting cold turkey for a bit, much like the killer himself. However, after another kill, his appetite is quenched, but he wants more. He'll never be satisfied. Even Jackson's face makeup is quite top-notch in this flick, and it stayed consistent throughout the 18-day shoot. Motion picture soundtrack. Julian Wastel composed some brash music for this film. To be honest, it's a bit forgettable. The theme song, Feel So Good by John King and Phil Butcher, is catchy as hell though. It's pure 80s cheese. Overall, this was a fun one. It gave me Toxic Avenger vibes, if Toxie was taken seriously. While the British accent may throw some people off, as some of the lines are punctuated in thick English accents, where it becomes a bit over the top, I loved every second of it. The butchery is solid when it's on screen. The film isn't overly long, so it doesn't take too long. It also delivers hardcore. I'd say if you don't mind spoofs that are more comedy than horror, or comedy and horror is a genre in of itself, definitely check out this wacky flick. What is your favorite Friday the 13th spoof? And let me know in the comment section below. Thank you all for watching. You've been watching Shark House Entertainment. Make sure to hit that notification bell to be notified every time I make a video, and as always, subscribe. No.